What's going on, traders? It's Ricky with TechBet Solutions. So thank you guys again for joining us for another recap on today's trading. I do want to give a shout out to all the members that participated within our group chat today. So if you guys want to be a part of TechBet Solutions, the link is provided for you down below. We are sitting a little bit over 13,200 members now worldwide. And the thing that we do best is share best practices, share mistakes, never to promote growth. I'm going to make today's recap very quick for you guys. So pretty much I'm going to talk about how today played out for me, as well as what I really, in a sense, took back from what I learned from today, right? So these daily recaps that I upload Monday through Friday, they pretty much recap, in a sense, my whole thought process when I choose to invest in a stock, as well as just what I learned. And I think that's very important for people from all experience levels because of the exposure that it can lead. And I want to make sure that it's not only me that's sharing it, so I want to make sure that you guys are part of this exposure. So if it's okay with you guys, and if you guys feel comfortable, not only in this YouTube channel in the comments down below, but if you guys want to post it, and I highly encourage it. I promise you that if it's something that you've learned and you want to share it with other people, to post it within the Facebook group chat or the Facebook platform, post it on the comments, because these are the, in a sense, messages that everyone reads. The group chat, because there's hundreds if not thousands of messages that are shared there every single day. It's very hard or difficult for someone to actually keep up with the information that's being shared. I want to make sure that the group chat is utilized in a sense more for like real time or some data that needs to be, in a sense, informed very quickly. It could just be you talking about what's popping at the moment, or anything like that, what you're choosing to invest in. But when it comes down and what you learned, what you did good and what you did bad, that whole, in a sense, just exposure that you can help someone out with, I want to make sure that if you guys feel comfortable with sharing, and I highly encourage it, feel free to share it within the comments down below, or as well within the Facebook platform. So pretty much what I learned from today, again, today is in a sense week 2, right? But it's actually day 2 because of all the restrictions that I've been encountering with my $1,000 challenge or my $1,000 Robinhood account. And I did encounter one again yesterday. And it pretty much, Robinhood reached out to me again with the technical support, and they didn't re-restrict my account, but one of my trades didn't go through. It ended up me having to hold it overnight without me actually knowing. I actually thought it executed right as before the market closed, but it never actually did. It dropped my account, not much. It was like $50. I was up like 2.6 or 2.7% at the end of the day, right after my recap, and then it brought me down to about I want to say like a $40 loss overall. So not a huge, again, drawback. It's just these mistakes that I'm encountering with this $1,000 account because of the PDT rule. Is definitely something that's been very difficult for me to overcome, especially because of my previous experience not having to deal with this restriction, right? And I want to make sure for someone that is just watching this for the first time, or for those that have been watching us for quite a while, trade with a little bit over $25,000 within my Robinhood account, so I didn't have to worry about these 3-day trades with a margin account. And I know that you can have a cash account and a little bit more, but for this $1,000 challenge, this is why I'm doing it. And although it's very frustrating for me, I really think this whole learning process for me in the long run is really going to pay off, because I'm in a sense refreshing myself with just information and knowledge that I kind of forgot about and how to overcome them. And I became a little bit more relaxed, right? With my trades, I traded 3-4 times, day traded 3-4 times a day, and then I would usually lock in 7 to 10% profit every single day, and it was with a $3,000 risk account, and I did it multiple times. Now with this $1,000 margin account, I can only day trade once a day, 3 days a week, in a 5-day period. So it was very difficult for me. And something that I encountered today, and I'm going to start sharing my screen, it was actually with the stock of MTBC. Not only did I, but there was a series of members within the TechBet Solutions group chat that actually called out this stock. They called it out because it had a huge drop. And again, this is exactly what we talked about on yesterday's helpful video. It built a gap. It built a just a profit or a margin of profit. And I identified that right away. I shouted that out to a couple people, and you guys did amazing. You guys jumped in from $1.90 to I think $2, and it went all the way up to $2.30. Kudos to you, 100%. I can't take credit for that. It was you guys that identified the potential, set up a plan, and then executed, and that was your success. what I did bad was that because of this restriction that I have on my account, I was afraid of jumping in and losing and stop lossing out. And I have to understand that in the beginning, you might encounter that a little bit more than usual. Um, but you have to understand that you have to get into the habit of building this plan, developing, making sure that you're comfortable jumping in, that it makes sense to you, and that the potential for profit is a lot higher than the potential for loss. It's all about managing risk, right? So me as someone that was experienced with not having to worry about this day trade restriction, now I see why it's so difficult for people to be scared to jump on in. Now I'm actually getting, in a sense, my feet wet with these certain obstacles that you guys as everyday members had to overcome to grow your accounts. And I'm telling you, and I'm telling you, it's a lot more difficult to trade with like this than it is to trade with no restriction, because there's been so many of you that have said, if this PDT rule wasn't a restriction, I'd be making thousands of dollars a day. And I 100% agree. But unfortunately, there is this restriction, and that's why I'm putting myself in this situation, an effort for me to, in a sense, learn and overcome any obstacles as a more experienced trader than some of the members within our group, and for me to share it with you guys, an effort to expose you guys to ways to overcome them to be more successful when it comes to penny stocks. So I hope you guys understand the principle of this $1,000 challenge. In no way is it to, try to make the most money, right? Because it's not, right? It really comes down to being a little bit more systematic, being a little bit more just organized with your trades, and being very realistic. And that's definitely something that I missed out on today. And I'm going to start sharing my screen and kind of talking to you guys a little bit about it. There was another member within the Techwood Solutions group chat that actually shouted it out when it was going up. And that was right after my shout out when it actually bounced at 190. I'll just start sharing my screen. I apologize. Let me go ahead and. So this is pretty much it. So Joey actually shouted MTBC, and then it dropped down to a little bit from the 190. Dropped actually, I think, almost hit 180. Started coming back up, and then he simply put, already dropped, and it's working up now. And with this simple, in a sense, just what do you want to call it? Just shout out, right? It allows members to understand, MTBC might be seeing some potential. So you as an investor, you as a day trader, shouldn't go based on someone else's opinion, but should use that exposure and make the judgment yourself. And that is essentially, what I tried to do. So right as the market opened, it saw that bounce all the way down here to the 190, picked back up to $2, and it looked like it might have dropped down to 180. And then it continued to rise, and then it popped right on through to highs of about probably like 235, I believe, or 236, and then started staircasing down. But overall, this potential for profit, if you see from 180 to, what is that, 238, if you see the percentage right here in the little box, you actually see that it's about 30%. And again, this is with a stock that is down currently 17.91%. And it was even down more, as it was down here at 180. And this is why I personally enjoy chasing red stocks, is because of the margin of profit, because of these huge drops that it has, that it can, start staircasing up and build off of. And, again, you only need 2.33% growth per day. So as MTBC, although it is definitely one that came with a lot of hype, it's one that you can manage your risk, right? So if I identified the support here at 190, what I could have done a little bit better, or maybe here at 180, what I could have done a little bit better is, waited for that bounce, right? Making sure that my RSI indicators are indicating that it's a good buy, which it did right here, right? And showing upward momentum. I didn't have to get in at the lowest point, but just like Joey said, when he identified that upward momentum, he had a plan. He identified that support. He's showing that it's actually bouncing, just making its way up. Where's the resistance? Well, he actually has a little resistance line right here, and that was around 220. So from $2 to 220, that's your 10% profit, for the day, and that can nearly get you like a big enough cushion to set you off for the entire week, right? Because with 2.33% growth per day, 3 days out of the week, that's 7%. So now it gives you a cushion for the week. So the 2 extra day trades that you have for the entire week, now you've built yourself just so you can give yourself like a larger gap to stay on top of schedule to hit that $1,000 to $20,000 goal. So what I could have done a little bit better is set up a plan and let it have sense to me a little bit more. The reason I much was because during pre-market hours it dropped all the way down to 152, and it's one that I just didn't really believe in. I didn't really expect that pop that it had as of yesterday, and a lot of traders within our group were able to profit off of it. But I think a lot of it had to do with hype. And again, this is something that's completely different from my comfort level. I'm more of a technical trader. These are more momentum stocks, and it came from 31 cents. I really didn't like that. I felt like it was just on too much hype, and I should learn how to set up plans, cut losses short on these, and ride them a little bit better. And that's, in a sense, a huge area of opportunity for me, especially with this $1,000 challenge. So I pretty much just wanted to show you kind of like why I identified the potential because of this gap that it built, that it had potential to just go back up to this 220 where I thought, the resistance was. It ended up going higher. That's great and all. If I would have gone in at 190, I probably would have sold at 220 because that's where the, resistance was during pre-market hours, and the support built around 180 to 190. I probably would have waited to get in at 190 or $2 to show that upward momentum. So again, 10%, that is more than enough profit, and that is really just it. So that is definitely something that I can improve on, and I do apologize. And I hope you guys understand. In no way am I trying to make myself, sound like a better trader. Because I think a lot of it has to do with the money that you have in your account. And with more money that you have in an account, unfortunately, what that means is you're, in a sense, given, less restrictions. And with those less restrictions, it's easier for you to make more money. So again, it comes down to, I think somebody within our group chat saying like, the rich get richer. In no ways having 25,000 is necessarily you being rich, but it does allow you to build, or just overcome or encounter any of these PDT rule restrictions, which I think I believe really will, in a sense, just restrict a lot of people for seeing growth within their account because of how disciplined you have to be. And in no way is that something that you guys need to give up on, but it's something that you just need to overcome. And I think as you develop yourself, as we develop ourselves as better traders, then when it comes down to actually having that money in the account, once we learn the ropes of again, overcoming these PD2 rule restrictions, once we do meet that $25,000, we will be, because of how disciplined we are, because of how strategic we are with our trades, because we were able to make it with that restriction, that it's only going to lead to more profit in the long run and being more successful. So again, it's about being patient, set up a plan how we're going to get there. And with this $1,000 challenge, if you actually hit your goal from 1,000 to, with simply 2.33% growth per day, 3 days out of a week for the year, right? You will have $20,000, and then that simply means you have a gap of $5,000 that you need to fill, and then you don't need to worry about this PD2 rule anymore. So that's, I think, something that you guys should be definitely looking forward to and working towards when trading. And that was really just it. I ended up not jumping into anything today. I got really upset with myself because of just understanding how difficult this really is with this restriction. And I have no shame in sharing that with you guys because it is a difficult obstacle to encounter, and I want to make sure that I'm as real with you guys, to myself as to anyone else. Although it's difficult, that definitely doesn't mean that it's impossible, and that's what we're going to be overcoming. We're definitely going to continue overcoming any hesitation, being consistent, learning from our mistakes, and sharing our best practices, because that is what TechBud Solutions does best. And I can't thank you guys enough again for the support. So if you guys have any questions, any suggestions, for anything, please feel free to reach out to me. The best way to reach out to me is within the group chat platform. So the link is provided for you down below if you want to join TechBud Solutions. And then once you get accepted, on the top pinned post, there's the TechBud Solutions group chat, which then will allow you to network with all the thousands of members we have within the group. And that's it. So I hope you guys have an amazing week. Congratulations to all those that were able to lock in amazing profit on everything that you guys traded today. It's so amazing, just because I had a bad day or didn't necessarily have a bad day, right? I just didn't really trade. That's definitely okay. Seeing you guys and seeing the growth and seeing how you guys communicate with one another within the group is probably one of the most beautiful things and most entertaining things that I can do within the day. And it's definitely a true blessing to be able to share this with each and every one of you. So I can't thank you guys enough. If you guys can like and subscribe, we'd greatly appreciate it. And stay tuned for today's helpful video, which will be posted 5:30 Mountain Standard Time, like we do every day, Monday through Friday. Can't thank you guys enough. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, guys.